Very good morning, class. Today we learn the colonial architecture in India. It refers to the architectural style and the structures that were built during the period of colonial rule, the preliminary by the British, also Portuguese and Dutch French also. The colonial period in India to spend several countries, the starting with the arrival for the Portuguese in 16th century, followed by the Dutch, French, and ultimately the British, who had two significant and a lasting impact on the Indian architectures. Again, the colonial architecture in India, the shaped by the British, Portuguese, Dutch, and French influence during respective periods of the rule, and also their blend of the style. British colonial impacts to evident Indo neoclassical structures and also their buildings, Victorian and also gateway of India. The Portuguese influences seen in the most of the in Goan church and also the Dutch church are the vibrant traditional homes. Dutch colonial regencies included to the fort of in Tamil Nadu, while the French architecture is prominent, the Pondicherry's white towns, the religious adoptions like the colonial bungalows in Shimla, Darjeeling also reflects the uh, all over the influences following countries and also culturals. The background of architecture, colonial architecture. In 18th century, a new era of the architecture, it is unfolded in India with the influences by the European powers, including the Dutch, Portuguese, English, French, and also the Portuguese also. These nations are establishing to new and their respective west and the compares of embracing the European colonial architectures also. The following battles are the East India companies and particularly the English branches, the politicals in India. This is the architectures are leaving the lasting impact to this artistic cultural landscapes also. Each European nations to brought the how to manufactures and colonial architectures, and it is evident to have a civics and also the buildings and the official bungalows, the post offices, the court, railway stations, government structures are constructed to large number of across this nation also. The colonial architecture characteristics are the refers to the architectural styles and emerging to during this colonial periods. Often this influences by to European colonies and adopted to the local conditions. Characteristics of the colonial architectures can be varied depending on regions and specific colonial powers. Here are the some general features and characteristics like symmetry. The colonial architecture is known as for that the symmetrical design also. This elements is one side is control to access mirror. This is the very same and balancing order. The second is the Gothic shapes, the regular uses of Gothic shapes of the rectangle, square, and circles as to the common colonial architectures. These shapes are to contributing to overall the symmetry of that structure. Next is the column. The uses of column is the features and with the style of this it is very ironically some columns are the very popular for this supporting porches and also this overall structure. Next is the porches. Many of the colonial buildings are the features of the porches and it is supported to these columns. This is the architectural another example and elements of the provided the shades of the contributing which is applied to that structure. Next is the roof line. The common colonial architecture, the roof line is very important because the pitch of the roof vary, and also the windows are sometimes to import to the roof and the structure. Next is material. The traditional materials including the wood, bricks, stones, and also the choice material often depends upon the religious and the other availability of the resources. This another is ornamentation. While they have to the decorate elements of the colonial architecture, generally the features of this very simpler style, the refers of the fundamental approaches, and it is this is the very special quality of that colonial architecture also. The central of chimneys. These colonial homes often to have more central chimneys. Chimneys. This is the chimneys to share the multiple fireplaces, the different rooms, and helps to distributing the heat and also the air also. The layout, the colonial homes, the typically the particularly and essentially the layout, the room of organized around the central hallway, and this layout is refers and reflects to the lifestyle and the need of that time. Again is the plasters, the shadows of rectangles, the columns, and other some buildings have to sometime use to decorative purpose of that element also. The influence of European style, depending the colonial power, like the English, Dutch, and Spanish also, there may be the influences the European architectural style, like the Georgian, Dutch colonial, or the Spanish colonial. The colonial architecture, European influence in India. The Portuguese architecture in India. The church. The first is impressive churches in colonial architecture. It is a very establishing, such as the churches in Goa, the France churches, Cochin, in build up in 1510th BC also. It is believed that the first European church in India. The building material also the Portuguese used to bricks and the primary buildings of material, wooden roof and the stairs were the it is very common specialty of the Portuguese. Architectural style is another is the magnification of the churches and the churchyard, school, library style. These those are very similar, and the front field of that cities of established from the trending and the warehouses. Another is influences the French architecture in India. The French architecture influences most of the time in style. It is local raw of material and considered to the also it is condition. Another is the British architecture. It is a very common style in India. Also, adoption of Gothic and many other church and the Victorian style. It is use of sandstone also, and the limestone also. And this building material they are used. Another example of the Gateway of India in Mumbai, the Victorian Gothic style also. Then the railway station. The Victoria terminus of the station in Mumbai. It is the another example of this British India architecture also. Again, the introduction of Gothic style is a Indo Gothic architectural style in Neo Roman style. The Indo Gothic style is Victorian style. This is the unique combination of India Persian Gothic elements also. It is called the Indo Gothic style, and it is in that use of the material is steel, iron, and also that availability of this material, and it's also the large window and window pane and plants. It is the again another specialty of Indo Gothic style also. I think it is a very important topic and important point also to colonial architecture in India. I think you are to understood very well. Thank you so much.